And now I feel like even tier 2 and tier 3 cities are getting very aware about, example, food pharma, how to read your label.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we were like, Cadbury's ka utha lo, ye utha lo, but no one even read what was inside the products. We just picked up from the shelf and had it. But in today's date, even tier 2 and tier 3 cities, people have started to really think about themselves. So in today's date, every second person I know wants to build a brand. To build a brand, you need to have your foundation very crisp. There's so many people like, okay, I've got the product. Example, I've got the manufacturer. Let's blast it out on Instagram, Facebook, videos and stuff like that. Everyone is thinking in the same nutshell.
But what's the base?
But what is your base?
But yeah, coming to your podcast, why music? Why did you select music?
A friend of mine actually came up with the idea. Music is a form of self-expression. It will be very cool for me to be part of something, for something that I really believe in, which is self-expression. And I told him, cool, let's do it. And it has been just magnificent.
Welcome everybody. So today I am thrilled to welcome Sachi Mekardiani, the dynamic voice behind the hit podcast, Let Me Backstage. Well, this podcast is super cool because it actually gives the viewers a backstage entry to the insights, the learnings, the lives of all the different music artists from all over the world. Their attempt is to get the industry experts and the entire music community together so that they can share parts of their journey and how it's been for them to reach where they have reached. Now, Sachi's journey is also one of courage and diverse background. Well, she's moved from a structured corporate environment from marketing for all the top brands of the world. Well, with all of this going on in her life, Sachi also manages to stay fit, play a lot of paddle, and eat and cook healthy food. So without further ado, I would like to welcome you all in Sachi's world and let her share her insights about the music community, about fitness, about her health, and her entire journey. Hey Sachi, what's
Hi.
up? So good to have you here. I'm welcoming you.
Yeah.
Can you tell all our viewers, listeners on multiple platforms, what is it that you do and why do you do it?
Amazing question. What is it that I do? So I'm a marketing strategist.
Okay.
I create end-to-end marketing strategies for brands, and whether it's product, pricing, placement, distribution, I create the base for any brand, for any sales team to take over. I would call myself a fractional CMO. So a fractional CMO is not an in-house chief marketing officer, but a fraction of what a chief marketing officer is at the office, but kind of executes the entire role of a chief marketing officer. That's what I do. That's what I'm passionate about. That is literally like my bread and butter. That's what I do on a daily basis. And I just love building brands. And my forte lies in the hospitality and the FMCG sector. These are two sectors that I'm very, very passionate about. And besides that, I also have a podcast, just like you.
Let Me Backstage.
So, yes. So we are podcast buddies.
Yes.
But this podcast is primarily focusing on music. We're the first audiovisual podcast that does everything music, and we plan to create not only podcasts but also create experiential memories and ideas and experiences for people, whether it's at a festival or having our own community of music lovers. So that is also what I do. Besides that, I also create content and I host and MC events as well. So that is, these are a few things that I do. But if I would break it down into a funnel, it is marketing, podcast, and that kind of like trickles down into content creation. And hosting is because I love just talking to people. I just love speaking, and I feel like if I didn't have the opportunity to speak, and that's where the podcast came into the place as well, then what is life, right? For me, I'm a very social person. I love exchanging ideas. I love just generally speaking to people, and I feel like person-to-person communication is by far the best kind of communication that you can have with anybody. I just generally am not a WhatsApp person. Yeah, of course, I'm WhatsApp. Everyone is on or Instagram calls, but I really love just talking and speaking, and I feel like that's what builds me to who I am.
It feeds you the right energy. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely. So I'm going to come to the podcast later, but I want to understand more about marketing.
Yeah.
Because earlier when we were talking, you told me that you were working with your dad initially, right? Or you're working, sorry, not with your dad, but you're working in a corporate where there's a different marketing structure.
Absolutely.
And you did not like that, which got you to
do my own thing.
To work more independent.
So when you work for a corporate firm, especially the large ones, I'll just name a few that I worked for, which is VIP Industries, Gourmet Investments, Shangri-La Group of Hotels. They're very large corporate firms that have been run for years and years and years. And they're built on processes and structure. So when you go as an employee to any large firm, one thing that you take out of them is the structure that they kind of embed in you. And it is the processes, the detailing, the formats, the procedures is what you learn. And no one does it better than any legit corporate firm. So when you have worked for a corporate firm for 10 plus years, you really gather the whole end-to-end processes. It is something that you have been built on. And my father also comes from a very corporate background. So seeing him how he is and notice he's like a legit corporate person who sits, breathes, writes, listens, hears everything corporate. So even when he's at home and if I'm supposed to have a casual like this conversation, like he will be very upset if I don't have a book and a pen with me.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's just that the whole environment of the corporate world has now embedded in me. But of course, when you work for these firms, sometimes there are employees who've been in the firm for so many years, donkey's years, and they have this specific way of working and they only want to work in that way.
In their own system.
They can't really have that switch that is required, I feel, in today's date, right? You and me are living in a digital world where everything that we live and breathe and speak and see is digital. And going forward, your kid, my kids, will only be introduced to the digital AI world. So that shift, I feel, is happening, but it's happening in a very slow format. And in today's day, you can't have that slow format. So what I bring into the picture is the reason why I left is because there's so much more that you can do as an individual for a brand, especially in today's day that is so fast forward, where trends are changing on a weekly basis. Moment marketing is happening. Today, something on TikTok while it was banned was trending is not trending anymore. So I think you'll have to just adapt in a very quick format for you to be a brand, to be seen, heard, whether you're a Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y, or a millennial. So I bring the processes of a firm, like of a corporate industry, and I tie it up with new age processes and ideas for a brand to become successful. So in today's date, how people are like, every second person I know wants to build a brand, right? But to build a brand, you need to have your foundation very crisp. There's so many people like, okay, I've bought the product. Example, I've got the manufacturer. I have a fantastic product. Let's blast it out on Instagram, Facebook, and do marketing. Let's do social media marketing, performance marketing. Let's make videos and stuff like that. That is like everyone is thinking in the same nutshell.
But what's the base?
But what is your base? I feel like when I say base, it is the 4 P's of marketing. And when I feel like the word marketing has been destroyed a lot, because when people say that marketing, to haan, theek hai, how do you market a product? Aapko maine product de diya, abhi batao, aap marketer. What are you going to do? How are you going to? It's not that. Marketing is way more than just marketing the product. It is about building systems and processes before even the product is launched, right? So you kind of position your brand. Where do you want your brand to be seen? Who do you want your brand to be seen, heard, felt? Those are the things that needs to be established. For example, okay, what price point am I going to be at? Am I going to have 10 products, or I'm going to have 5 products? But those 5 products are catering to which segment? Maybe one is catering to two are catering to a mass segment, then I'll go a little bit mass premium segment. But how do I really price my product? Am I going to the mass audience who lives in Thane and Mira Road, or am I going to the likes of Khar, Juhu, Worli? So there is so much thought, strategy that really requires for any marketer to build a brand. So, for example, they're saying, marketing ka lo, marketing supports sales. That's what everyone says. Nah? Like, marketing is a support system for the sales team to function.
Correct.
But it's actually not. Marketing is the brand's base that you build for just the sales team to sell. For example, this mug here. Now, this is your product. And I say that, okay, I have launched this product. I have to build everything. I have to build the price, the inventory, the product, the placement, the distribution, the look, the feel, the packaging, of course, everything. And I just have to hand over this cup to the sales team and say, बस आपका यही काम है कि आपको बेचना है through your network that you have, whether it's your distribution network, your B2B network, your marketplace that you have, DMart, whatever, etc., etc. So the sales team already has a network. All they have to do is, and we have to train them also. How will you pitch to the client?
What is the story?
What is the story? And how do you even sell the product? So that also is a marketing's job. So as a marketer, what I have learned is that as a marketer, you also have to be a salesperson. Without being a salesperson in you can't be a marketer. So 4 years of my life, I was doing sales and marketing, which required me to also build my sales skills. How do you really sell a product? Selling a product is really a skill. It's an art, it's a technique, it's charm. So it's a combination of everything. So as an individual, if you crack sales and marketing, you've cracked the code of
business. Then you can fly with anything, right?
Then you can fly with anything. So I feel a lot of people, and in today's date, everyone wants to start a brand. It is that whole bubble of being an entrepreneur for the last 5 years in India has really, really bursted. And it's just everyone is like, I want to be my own, I want to have my own brand. I don't want to work for anyone. And this is what I want to do. But trust me, I've seen it, I've lived it, I've felt it. In my previous job, I was handling 100 crore portfolio of Sky Bags. Under Sky Bags, you have different categories. I was handling the school category. And the school category was in itself 100 crores. And we had 2 crores of a marketing spends on an annual basis to kind of plan out. So that's just the marketing spends. But how do I build that 100 crores into a 200 crore portfolio for the next year? So that requires a lot of data analysis, that requires a lot of understanding of products, what is selling in which region. So that's something. Overall, marketing is just a very huge topic, which has made people realize that no, it's actually only this much, when actually it is this much.
I think when we say marketing, people only think about influencer collaborations.
That's it.
And social media ads and SEO. AdMax SEO is what people tell me, that okay, marketing mein aapko SEO seekhna hai, Google ads seekhna hai, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. That's how you market.
Absolutely. And everyone is just कि हम कौन सी influencer, which influencer should we really tie up with, or which celebrity should we get as our endorser, or campaign में कितने influence micro macro. That's not. That's just like maybe contributing 5% to marketing. That's not even marketing. That's just enhancing your marketing campaign, but it's not building a marketing campaign.
So as a marketer, do you feel that you also have the responsibility to increase your market size? Like whichever product you're dealing
Absolutely. Either you increase your market size, you capture a market size. For example, any product will have an entire addressable market, and there will be multiple players who are already existing, large FMC, which any player that has taken the pie of the market. Either you create your own market, which is the most difficult to do because you have to educate people for that, or you bite into someone else's market and you take that share away from that percentage of what they have, or you just play in whatever you have. So these are three things that you can do. The easiest way to penetrate into a market is bite into an existing market of a competitor. So that is the most easiest. The most difficult is creating a new market, which requires a lot of education, a lot of awareness, a lot of marketing spends. That is very tough to crack. But if you can build your own niche and own market, then you are the first.
Then you're first
in the
mover
market. Yeah, the first mover, which is brilliant as well.
Wow. But is the first mover advantage even like a thing? Is it important anymore? Like, I mean, I'll just give you examples of Orkut, right?
Yeah.
Facebook came in.
Yeah.
And I don't know what came in before Orkut, maybe an ICQ, or I don't know, whatever you want to compare it with. Like, I've always seen people with better execution.
Yeah.
And keeping systems and delivery systems very simple win the game at the end of it.
100%.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah, I've never, I don't know one successful, like even Google, for example, or like Yahoo Tank, like all these things that started off first really ended up like tanking big time, right?
Yeah. And to be a trendsetter, right, you need to be ahead of the game. And how?
And constantly innovating.
You have to be, if you want to be the trendsetter, or if you want to be the first mover in any segment, I feel like your intuition or your market research has to be ahead of the game 10 steps, so that even the person copying you, before he can copy you, you are already like 20 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So for that, you need a very large team, resources, to be ahead of the curve. Unless you're building a technology that doesn't exist and something that people would love. And if you introduce it to someone and you and I would love it, that's a whole ball game. It's very, very different. But I think in product or a service as well, execution is the most important, and how you execute it and how fast you execute it. So for example, moving on to the podcast, it is consistency. The minute for a month I am not seen or visible, same like a brand, no one will remember you. For example, any brand, for example, I am buying a pillow cover. And I come across so many ads of this pillow cover, and I'm like, maybe I need this pillow cover today, I'll buy it. After 6 months, I don't see, maybe I want another pillow cover, but if I've not seen any ad, or if I've not seen any consistency of that same brand, another brand comes, I'll obviously switch to something else. So in today's year, consumer is not loyal to any brand unless you're an established brand like a Coke or a Gatorade example. Then maybe yes, because they've really taken years to drill into your mind that this is the product for you and you absolutely love it. But I feel execution, consistency, and innovation are three things that will always keep you in the game.
And a little bit of luck too, right?
Yeah, man. Luck to...
Yeah, I know it's so important, because I was talking this, I won't name the brand, but there's this one energy drink company that's come out in India. Fucking don't show it. Zing or something like that. And they're doing decent in tier 2, tier 3 cities, right?
Yeah.
And I spoke to that founder probably a year back. He's like, I'm coming up with an energy drink. I was like, are you fucking crazy? There's Red Bull over here. There's Monster that's coming in over here. Why are you putting your money into this? And he's like, no, it'll work. I was like, why will it work? He's like, I'll play on price. Like Red Bull Monster is too expensive. I'll play on price. And I'll not go for the market that's already over here. I'll make it cooler in tier 2, tier 3. I was like, okay, fine. I think you're going to waste all your money. Crazy amounts. Like mad turnover. But yeah, I mean, I think that's luck, because there are other companies also that came up in the same energy drink sector. But They haven't.
Luck, of course. I mean, luck is everything in
Yeah.
today's world, because there are so many people working equally hard and putting the same amount of time, effort, consistency, but some fail, some don't. So that depends on your stars as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, imagine. I was just thinking, this is one company, like one product,
Yeah.
crack cream. No, crack cream. Have you know what's crack cream?
No.
Okay, it's
There, on the feet.
Yeah, on the feet, right? It's
figured.
only one product. They're doing that. They're selling that one product since so many years. Vaseline, petroleum jelly. One product. So many years. I'm sure there are so many people who must have tried to do it, but no one's been able to.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking insane, this marketing world.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming to your podcast, how did you come up with that idea? Like, why music? Why did you select music? Because so as soon as when we met playing paddle and all that, I went on your profile, stalked, saw what all you're doing. Then I saw the podcast and I was like, dude, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Because like there are podcasts around everything nowadays, including me, myself.
Yeah.
But then to come up with something which is around music, and there are so many good artists coming off India. In fact, a couple of my friends also, Chaitanya, Slow Cheetah. Like there's so many good artists coming up, but there is no platform for them. Like there's no platform for them to get their word out. Like even if they are like DJs or artists who perform live, or even simple musicians. Like I have this place called the Nook over here on LinkedIn Road, where we like call a lot of homegrown talent.
Nice.
So there were these people who came in and they were like singing so well, and they were playing all these offbeat instruments. And like there's fucking no platform for them to communicate to people or get the word out there.
Yeah.
But this is so cool. Like, how did you come up with that idea?
So a friend of mine actually came up with the idea. He's my partner at Let Me Backstage.
Okay.
And he is a promoter in the nightlife industry.
Okay.
Same thought process as what you mentioned right now, that there are so many people who are so talented and their journeys are unbelievable. You know, when you speak to so many people, musicians, industry leaders, artists, musicians, no one is really giving them a platform to talk about their journey, their successes, who they are, what type of music do they play, what really inspires them on a day-to-day basis to create music. And it's a very creative field at the end of the day. So he came up to me and he said that, Sachi, I'm starting this, I want to start this music podcast. And I was, like I mentioned, I was in the hospitality sector, and for 3.5 years, I was programming music.
Oh.
That's all I was doing. 3 times a week, I was programming different kinds of music. So one day was techno, one day was Bollywood, one day was just live performers. And every month we used to have very unique performers like Masala, Pen Masala. So I was really into the scene, and then every DJ was literally my best friend because they all wanted a gig. And I did the most amount of gigs back in the day.
Okay.
So he said that if I wanted to get someone, like it had to be you, so let me know if you would want it. First, I wasn't keen. I was like, dude, I have so much on my plate. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. But then when I really dwelled into the thought of having a podcast, and that too solely for music, and I know music is a form of self-expression, and just like fashion, just like art. And I thought that it will be very cool for me to be part of something that I really believe in, which is self-expression. And I feel like what you wear, what you draw, your creative aspect, music that you play really defines on who you are. And I wanted to be part of this journey. And I told him, cool, let's do it. And it has been just magnificent. The amount of support that we've got, the amount of love that we're receiving basis the content that we're putting out, and appreciation that finally there's a podcast that really talks about the journey of musicians, their successes, their failures, their life, their experiences. And trust me, DJs and musicians and festival owners have the most craziest stories ever.
I'm sure.
Like madness. It's just like, I can't even talk about what stories they have because they're wild. Everything that goes down at a festival is crazy. Everything that goes down in a nightclub at 6 a.m. in the morning or 5 a.m. is ridiculous. And we are so happy that we finally got a platform where we're able to showcase these stories to people and relive them. You know, people, for example, like I don't party as much as anymore. But when I listen to these stories back in the day when a 25-year-old guy is just going ham and he jumped on the stage and got a bottle and started just like shooting the bottle, you know, spraying the bottle at everyone. You relive those memories as well, right? So it's just a super fun, entertaining, fresh kind of take to the music industry. And that's what I absolutely love about Let Me Backstage.
But so tell me, since we are on the topic, like what is the craziest story that you've heard so far?
So the story was, it's actually on our podcast, and this was by Prateek Pandey. He's the festival owner of TGTL.
Okay.
Boiler Room.
Yeah.
And apparently at 6 in the morning, basically he doesn't have a walkie-talkie. Yeah. Because it's just crazy. So there was this guy, 21-year-old boy, super drunk, like couldn't even walk. So someone found him and said that.
Someone found him.
Yeah,
okay,
like
so he passed out.
Yeah,
okay.
he was like. So, and then the guards basically were taking him out with one of his friends and some other guys, and they said, dude, this guy is done. We need an ambulance or we need a wheelchair to basically take him out. So called him, and someone called him on his phone and said that, listen, we need a wheelchair for this guy. He can't think, can't even walk. So took him out, and there were 2-3 guys. So the wheelchair came, but the wheelchair guy didn't know abhi kisko bithana hai. There was some guy, he came and he's like, man, wheelchair me, and he sat. And the wheelchair guy took some random person instead of that guy who was fucking wasted.
Are you serious?
So that guy was basically just left there only. So it's just, and then the other guy, he's like absolutely normal. Not normal, but he's a little drunk.
Yeah,
but he's just chilling on the wheelchair and he's been taken away somewhere. So it's just.
Must be his best friend because that's what they do, right? I can totally imagine one of my friends do that to me if I was like completely wasted.
Yeah.
Not now, but back in the day, yeah, for sure. That's how we would mess around with each other.
Yeah. But crazy stories also about artists like Avicii and you know, like the tech riders and the hospitality riders. Like they want a jacuzzi, they want like, you know, they want their room to be decorated with balloons all the time. So like it's just like crazy things that you hear about specific artists as well.
Yeah.
But it's always fun, like, you know, it's when you're on set, there's never a moment where we're not enjoying ourselves. So then we've realized that I think we've bought happiness and entertainment and joy through stories and entertaining people through that.
Yeah, it's fab.
Yeah.
But tell me, like setting up a podcast, because nowadays everybody, like including myself, right? And we're setting up podcasts, and when I was setting it up, I thought it would be easy. I mean, camera lagana hai, light lagana hai, chalu kar denge. It's a tough job,
It is.
right? It's a very demanding job. I mean, obviously, if you just do it from a surface level, then it's easy. But then if you don't dive deep into it, I don't know what's the point of it. But yeah, have you guys faced any issues? I'm sure you all have.
Yeah.
But what kind of?
The setup that we do, first of all, is financially quite expensive because we shoot with 4 to 5 cameras, and we've got very expensive ones. Plus, we have an edit team, very large edit team who edits, and then we have, after the edit, it goes for the post edit, you know, which requires all the animation and some innovation in the videos that we do as well, where you cut clips and some make it more fun. So the entire process of shooting to your final podcast, it's an expensive affair. We chose to do it that way because we wanted to invest in the quality of the content that we were shooting out. We could have done it at home as well, but we realized that it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And podcast, generally podcast is also not sustainable. We shooting 4 podcasts a month is not enough content for consumers to see. People want content every day, and to give content every day is very, very challenging. So we had to go back to the drawing board and say that releasing 4 podcasts, which is also not a cheap affair, is that enough? And if we are actually making a community, and if we are actually building a music community, a music lover community, is this enough? And we've realized it's not enough. That means this would require us to shoot more content, not only podcasts, but in a different format as well. So now what we're doing is we're trying to explore different formats that will require us to shoot with different people, of course, in the music industry, but in a very different way, in a more
economical,
lighter way that will attract different set of audiences as well. So it's a very demanding job. As much as you say that, you just require a few days of the month to shoot, and few days of the month to edit, and few days of the month for just your marketing and your release and stuff, that's not enough. People are wanting more, and we are getting messages that, okay, when are you releasing this next? And sometimes we are not able to edit it on time because there's so much of edit involved. There's a lot of things. There was one podcast I don't want to mention, but we couldn't release because there was so much of things that we had to cut out, and it came out to 20 minutes, and we're like, we can't really release this. But people loved the reel so much. They were like, where is the final podcast? And we didn't have a podcast.
So what do you do with the content? Like, didn't release it at all, or like, are you shooting it again?
Like, we couldn't. No, the artist she left. But what do you do?
It's the same girl who dated Novak Djokovic. Oh.
Yeah, we had to trim the podcast, so it just didn't work out, and unfortunately, people were just loving the reels, the content that went on the reels, and it's sometimes very hard to please everyone, and that is also another challenge, that some content that you put out is not appreciated or not liked, and you can't please everybody.
So like, your podcast is bootstrapped?
Yeah, like we don't have any
investors,
on board. We're doing it ourselves, and that's the main reason why that.
So what is the bigger challenge, like setting up a team or finding guests? Where do you think is the bigger challenge in the entire podcast? And I'm asking you these questions because I'm sure like people who see our platform or who consume our content, even they would eventually explore into using a podcast as a source of marketing or building more brand awareness.
Yeah.
So where have you faced more challenges?
So initially when we started, we got 2-3 artists on board, and then for a month, because the artists were very busy, it was season time, we weren't getting anyone to shoot because they were like, no, the season time, we can't have. So we were facing a lot of issues there. But then I guess we also have to start planning it in a way that, of course, during season time, the big guys won't come to shoot.
Yeah.
So you have to take slightly smaller ones to shoot with. And now, because it's off season, so everyone's available. And now we're not facing any issues with the artist. Everyone wants to shoot with us because we've got some good names already on board. So everyone's happy to collaborate with us. I think for us is consistency. The main challenge we're facing is that we don't have enough content. And the challenge we're facing is to keep creating content.
Does that feed into your anxiety, like when you don't have enough? Because I know it does. It, like, we've had so many like, I wouldn't call it arguments, but yeah, it's been unhappy moments in office where we're like, dude, like, we need content faster, we need it faster, we need to shoot more, we need to edit faster.
That's the main challenge.
And he's like, I can't. He's like, we can't churn out content. It's not possible. I'm like, why can't you do it? I mean, it's been 2-3 days. We should have something ready. He's like, it's not possible.
Same. The edit, I feel like so yesterday we sat, actually, all of us we had a meeting yesterday, and we were like, how do we do this? We created a structure. We're like, day 1, you shoot the content. Day 2, you sit on the content, close on the content that is required, edit, etc. You give 2 days for the editor to edit, finalize everything, and then third day is the release of the main podcast, or fourth day is the release of the main podcast. So like we've built a structure. We built this before also, but it's just very difficult. We'll have to just streamline things in a better format, which we have done yesterday.
Okay.
And hopefully this format that we have created works out. We'll have to sit with the editor as well, because and we have to work with teams who will be able to give that to us, because at the end of the day, if I don't post for a week, trust me, no one's even gonna think about Let Me Backstage. Everyone knows Let Me Backstage, loving it, but that whole week you weren't there, and
Where were you?
they're consuming some other content.
Yeah.
So the person who can consume my content, I've given that space to somebody else. So it's just that challenge of creating content after content and creating cool content and content that's relatable. That's the most important thing. So although we have within ourselves, we're very creative in terms of we write our own script, we do everything ourselves because we're so new. But I think creating content that people would love is something that we're good at. I would say we're actually very good at that, because the content that we are churning out, and although we only have 10K followers, but our hit ratios are very high. Our share ratios are very high. So that means the content that we're creating, people are actually loving it. But the amount that we are creating is not enough. So
But less is more, right? I mean,
but people want more, and if you don't give them more, they'll, because we are lacking, definitely lacking here, absolutely. And they're like, we don't know what Let Me Backstage was doing, and sometimes people don't even follow you. You don't even get the followers. They're like, one time watch, loved your content, but why isn't that person following? Why aren't you even getting that follower to like you?
yeah.
So I have 35,000 followers now. I don't know how many people out of 35,000 followers will want to follow Let Me Backstage. The other partner or the other host that I have is 15,000 followers. I don't know how many, but how do we convert that ratio is something that we are also looking at right now. The conversion rate of
viewer to follower to an engager. Let's call it that.
Is something that we are also now building on.
Trying to identify.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's a never-ending game.
It's a never-ending game, and it's just every day we're thinking of ideas, solutions. Like, how do we make this better? How do we make this shareable? Because likes, we don't even look at our likes. We don't even look at our comments anymore. We only look at how many shares and how many saves do we have.
Yeah.
So that really dictates. And then we obviously go back and see that what's worked, not worked. And we realize that people want to listen to stories and experiences.
True.
That's all they want to hear. So if someone is watching a podcast or anything, it has to be story based or experience based or education and fun mixed. So it has to be something that when they hear it, they're like, oh my god, either it's funny, either it's education, either they're like, oh, this can be helpful, useful. So these are the only few topics I feel are working. No one is interested in anything. Statics, no one even looks at. So we are in this day and age where the attention span has gone down from 10 seconds to 6 seconds right now. Okay. So now we are also looking at formats where we don't want 10 seconds or 12 seconds. We only want 6 seconds. And we have to tell a story in 6 seconds.
How?
That's the creative part.
6 seconds.
So do the reel cuts in 6 seconds, sharing whatever I've said.
You have to increase the speed or tempo or something like that. Yeah.
Because the hand movement is just going faster and faster. It's just like, even if you look at when you're scrolling, it's just your hand movement is going faster. It's not going slower.
I'm only seeing paddle reels now. So
only paddle.
Tuck, tuck, tuck. I'm sharing it with you only. Yeah, but so while you're doing all of this marketing, podcast, a little bit of paddle, how do you manage your fitness? What is your fitness mantra? I don't like to use the word mantra, but what is your fitness routine or hygiene protocol that you follow for your fitness and wellness?
See, I'm not the best at following, but I'm decent. I'm good at it. I'm actually a healthy eater. I'm a very clean eater.
You cook really well.
Yeah, but look, stuff that I cook is not the healthiest that you see on my Instagram. It is quite unhealthy.
It
But
seems healthy to me. I mean, anyways.
some is healthy, some
Yeah.
is not. It's a balance.
The
but-
French toast wasn't, I know.
Not at all. But the rest of it is a bit healthy here and there. But I feel I really focus on my nutrition quite a bit.
Okay.
I try and work out almost every day or every other day. I do weight training, and I'm a sports person. So I've always been an athlete since
Okay.
I was young. I was a swimmer, I was a tennis player, badminton player. So I like being outdoors. That just gives me happiness and joy. And the reason why I'm playing paddle so much is because I find the sport interesting, and I find that me being outside with people, playing with friends and meeting new people is something that I enjoy doing over working out, of course. But I know that it's important for me to also throw in a workout, every other day, which I do. But I feel more than that, my lifestyle is very good. Like, I eat very clean. I'm very mindful of what I eat.
Okay.
So let's say if that day I went out, we had a meal together, we had pasta, we had pancakes, and I knew that I, had that cheat meal. So during the week, I'll make sure that I eat at home. I'll have my roti, sabji, dal, chicken, whatever, fish, protein, and I make sure that it's a balanced diet. So that's what mostly keeps me in shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I meant fitness or wellness, I meant
Oh.
like everything. So it's not just a nutrition, right? So
Okay.
it's a workouts,
Yeah.
it's a nutrition, it's a mental health.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure with so many activities.
It gets so coming to that, it's tough. I find sometimes I get burnt out, to be very honest, and there are days where like I just do this entire week, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to work out, I'll probably play a paddle, but it gets very exhausting because the mind is at so many different places. I'm working on my marketing strategy for brands.
Correct.
I'm working on the podcast. I'm working on if I'm hosting an event, I have to memorize lines for that, prepare for that. If I'm creating content, like today morning I had to create content for a brand. So like strategize, be innovative there as well. Like how do I make it different, unique? Build scripting for that as well. So my mind is just like by the end of the day, it just gets very, very
Must be on
exhausted.
overdrive all the time. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. How do I balance it? I don't balance it. I just burn out, and because I have to do what I have to do. Like, unless I tell myself that, okay, Sachi, give yourself a small break, a day or two. Don't think about anything else. Go for a massage. Go get steam sauna. Chill, relax, enjoy, watch TV, go out with your friends. Just get back together, and then.
so you do have a cleansing, a mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunday, I would say, because.
Where Sunday, bro? Sunday we are playing paddle.
But that is
Okay, yeah.
Chill,
yeah,
nah.
Exactly, yeah, you're right.
so. I normally Sundays I'm easy on myself, but there are days where I sometimes work on a Sunday if I've not able to complete some of my tasks. But yeah, I give myself that once a week kind of a break, where on Sundays I'll cook in the morning, have a nice breakfast, play paddle, grab food with friends, and watch some TV, have people over, relax, chill. But I, 2 to 3 times a week, I make sure that I meet my friends, or I have people over, or I do things that distract my mind from work. So I have that outlet as well, where, for example, if I've had a very exhausting day, and I'm one person who has good energy. Like, I'm one person who can like continue till 11 also. But I need my 8 hours, 9 hours of sleep for that to happen. So I'm very good with my sleep as well.
Okay.
The minute I know that it's 11:30 on a weekday, 11:30, I'm like, now it's time to go to bed. Even though I can wake up at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I make sure that I sleep and I wake up at the same time. So that gives me that energy, that headspace to think clearly, to work efficiently. So that is also one very good trick, I would say, for anyone to, work as hard as you want to. I think your sleep cycle should be very precise. It should be the same cycle. And I'm very used to a routine, and I like following a routine. So once you have a routine in place, and once you follow a routine, then you just manage everything.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, because if you sleep well, then you'll eat well. You'll wake up in time to train, and you'll not be rushing around with a lot of things. Right?
Yes.
So
yes.
most of my clients who have some kind of health issues, one of the habits that we work with, like the fundamental habits that we start off with, is always sleep. Yeah, then comes the nutrition, then comes the hydration, then the workouts, the walks, the steps, and all of that. But the sleep, having that circadian rhythm in order is so important. So I mean, you do have it. You're just not aware of it, but you do have a mental health cleansing routine.
Yeah. So I love to concentrate on myself and my well-being. I don't like to overburden myself. And even if I'm getting overburdened, then I question myself, do you want to do this now? Are you getting overburdened, or do you want to do this tomorrow? Is it very urgent? If it's very urgent, then I'll make sure I'll do it. But I'm selfish. Like I put myself first. But that's how I've been all my life. I don't know if I would call that selfish, but I feel like if you can't take care of yourself first, how would you take care of others? It's very important to make sure that you're well taken care of, so that you can take care of your husband, your mother, your parents. So always find happiness in yourself, find joy in yourself, and you will be a happy person, and you will be a productive person, and you'll make sure that everyone around you is also happy.
So what you're saying, it's not selfish. I would term it as self-love.
Yeah.
And you're feeding yourself. So
Absolutely.
And I don't think there's any limit to what you can do for yourself. Right. As long as you are feeding yourself, and what you're doing is not morally wrong or not harming anybody, and it's just keeping you happy and sane and allowing you to give better energy to the people around you. You won life, bro.
Absolutely.
You don't need to feel guilty about it, feel sorry about it. Like there are days where I've played paddle for 2 hours, 3 hours, worked out for 2 hours, and I've been completely decimated. I've also worked maybe for 4 or 5 hours. I've been destroyed by the end of the day, physically, mentally, but I'm just so happy and satisfied at the end of the day. I'm like, I've been able to give it my all. And then that trickles down into the relationships that I have.
Absolutely. So I also believe in energy, in very small forms. Just give you an example, and that also feeds into my energy levels during the day. And I make it very clear that I surround myself with positive energy people, or with the right kind of energy that I'm looking for. So one thing that I've learned is that whenever I have meetings with people, and if I feel I'm envious of someone's energy, I make it a point that I handshake that person, so that I get a little bit of that person's energy, and I take that energy in a very positive way. So it gives me their positive energy, and I give my positive energy to them.
Okay.
So that is one way that I have learned to give and take positive energy. That's why it's very, very important to surround yourself with the right kind of people, because you are firstly the 5 people of you're
the average of 5
by.
people. Yeah.
So it's very important to make sure that the people who you're with are positive all the time. They're always making you happy. They're not judging. I have some very good friends in my life.
Okay.
Friends, mentors as well, who have contributed and taught me. This is one thing that I've been taught by one of my mentors. That's Archie, when you meet someone, judge that person, and if you feel like that person is having such beautiful energy, exchange your energies, and trust me, exchange it in multiple ways, whether it's by handshake, by conversation, by mentally, being at the same level. And trust me, if you can do that, and it's a very simple thing, all you have to do is just be on that person's same mental level, have positive conversations, and you will automatically start getting that positive, vibes from that person, and you will yourself will become a very wholesome person.
Yeah.
So that is also contributing a fairly large percentage to who I am today and how my energy levels on a day-to-day basis last. So my energy levels last for a very long time, but of course by 11:30 I'm done. And when I'm done, it's mean like I'm done.
Switched off.
I don't want to work. Don't bother me after 11:30 because my mind cannot work, and whatever I talk is bullshit. So don't even talk to me. So I've made that whole mental, physical cycle for myself. It can get overburdening, but my body knows how to, I think it's built that system and processes around it that it knows how to kind of relax it, calm it, have a, as you said, like
a
you
cleansing
have a
cycle.
cleansing,
I call it a cleansing
have a
cycle,
cleansing cycle.
Yeah, so it helps just to take on the next day.
Yeah, and learn to say no. The day you feel like I don't want to work today, no, I don't want to work today, and have courage in saying that as well. If I'm not feeling up to it, because my role requires for me to be creative on a day-to-day basis, whether it's a podcast, like I said, whether it's marketing, everything revolves around tactical strategies and creativity. And sometimes the mind doesn't have that spark.
Yeah.
So you have to tell your client, or you tell somebody that, listen, just not today. I won't be able to deliver today. Allow me time till tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm not getting what I need to give you. So learning to say no is also another thing that's
a tough thing. I mean, like,
but it works. If you're honest to what you want to deliver, I mean, I can deliver anything. Now I said, okay, let's create this campaign, or let's create this strategy for your product or your price. But if I feel like, Sachi, you've not given your best, your mind is not at its best, then tell the person. That person will actually appreciate it. And I've learned this over years. I learned the art of saying no for the better, not for the worse, not because I'm lazy, not for that purpose, but for the purpose of the betterment of the idea or the purpose,
end result.
The end result.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but it must be difficult, right? I mean, to be creative day in, day out, day in, day out.
And I don't like, and the clients that I also have, I mean, I can take like 50 clients also, but I don't choose to do that because it requires my bandwidth. Everything that requires strategy and creativity comes from me. So it's not about the money. I have never ever said that I want to make money in my life. No, I don't want to. And money, of course, everyone wants to make money, but more than anything, I am passionate of what I do. And money has always followed me. I've never followed money. And that's one principle my dad has taught me at a very young age.
Okay.
Is you respect money, money will respect you. Don't run after money, money should run after you. And these are two principles I have stood by from the beginning. I tell my clients, if they feel that if I've quoted something that is not what they want to give, I'm happy not to work with them.
Yeah.
And if they come back to me, no, give me a 20% discount, I was like, no, because I know what I can bring to the table. And you have to reach a certain level, because I've also worked very hard to come there. And like I said, I never ever want to run after money. I want to run after my passion and what I'm passionate about. And automatically, let's say this content creation, the hosting, all of these are byproducts of what I'm doing. If I'm speaking on a podcast, or if I'm building creative strategies, these kind of trickle down to other things that you can also do in life. So that's why I tell people that whenever you're doing things, always build your base strong, no matter whatever you're doing, whether you're doing marketing, whether you're doing content creation, whether you want to be an engineer, whether you want to be a fitness coach or run an agency. I think your foundation has to be very strong. Once you build the foundation, then you can hustle wherever you want. Then you can do this.
Figure your way out everywhere.
Then then it will come to you. But work your way to building your base.
But tell me, like, we are in India, right? This concept of give me a deal, give me a discount. How often do you face it, or do you face it every day? Because I face it every time. Like just before you came in, I was telling you, right? First half of my day was sales. I took like 7 calls in the morning, since morning, 7 sales calls since morning. All of them. I know you through this person. This one's referred you, or this one says really good things about you. I'm sure you can work something out for me.
Yeah.
It's my time. I have only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
And I really am struggling with this entire discussion, and I genuinely am, where I'm like, I don't want, like I can't give discounts. I cannot do that. But it's the same thing, and then I've actually ended up losing a lot of clients, and not having clients. But I don't know, like, how do I work around that?
Man, like Indians are just inculcated with discounts. Like they're like, अगर मुझे कुछ खरीदना है, अगर discount नहीं है, तो मैं next week आ जाऊंगी.
So as a marketer, that's what I wanted to know. Like as a marketer, do you always like, should you increase your price and then give a perceived discount? Would that work better?
So yeah, like the brands, certain brands that I've, so what happens is there are some industry discounting patterns also. So first you need to understand that what industry you're in. For example, if you're in jewelry, there is industry 30% discount that happens.
Okay.
If you're in the luggage industry, 40% is mandatory. If you don't have 40% discount in your brand, other brands are giving. So you have to check industry wise also, but you know that rule has been set by the industry. So you check the industry, you check what your competition is doing, and where you're positioned also, right? If you're a mass premium brand, and if you're for the mass, and if you're fighting against the brands that are offering 40%, then you have to give that 40%. They will not come to you, or you say that ये price यही price है. But the thing is, अभी वो जो consumer आ रहा है ना, for example, they've gone to one store, नहीं हमने तो 40% देखा था, आप तो दे ही नहीं रहे हो, तो नहीं हम उनके, it's that mindset, and you can't change that mindset, because that mindset is just created for years and years. Unless you're a premium brand and you know the value that you bring for this, I will not give a discount. I will only give a 10% discount on end of season sale, or your Pink Friday sale or whatever, because you're a premium brand or you're a luxury brand. So discounting pattern really depends on your positioning, and where you want to be seen, which audience you want to be really targeting at, and that's how you kind of describe your pricing structure. So it's a very
But it keeps evolving, right? I'm sure it must be evolving all the time. Oh no, it's standard.
It's standard. Because I have dealt with 5 industries, and the first thing that I question is, what are the standards of discounting? Because ideally, you don't want to be too high also, you don't want to be too low also. Ideally, always you want to be on the lower side. Let's say if the brand is, the other competitor is giving 40%, you would say 30%. But if your product is fantastic and there is brand loyalty, then maybe it would work. But there's so many factors. And this discounting thing, unfortunately, in India, it works.
I just realized that I'm cribbing about my clients coming to me and asking for a discount, but here I am, I'm just looking to buy a car, and I was talking to the sales guy yesterday, and I was like, you have to give me some kind of discount. And I'm just so embarrassed right now, but I'm like, it's in our blood.
It's in Indians, अगर bargain नहीं किया, अरे I तो bargain with the bhaji wala also. मेरे को क्या है आपने 20 रुपए में क्या? You know what I mean? It's just Indians they love the haggle,
the deal.
They love the deal. I want the deal, and you give them that. So I'm not saying that it's good, bad, or it's not good. It's
find a way for win-win.
And that's something if you're positioning yourself for the masses, and they will want a deal. But for example, you and me, if I believe in a product, I believe in a brand, and for me that discount doesn't matter. If I know the product is good, it is contributing to my lifestyle, it is contributing to the quality I'm looking for, I'm okay with the 5% discount, I'm okay with the no discount also. So it's how you really position yourself, place yourself. So those factors also come in discounting.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. Fuck. This has been a lesson for me in marketing.
I hope so.
Yeah. Kick ass. Okay,
Yeah.
can you have those cards? Can you have the food also? Is there
Did you
anything
make
else?
the pizza or what?
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, yum. I'm gonna
We
take.
made it in an almond flour base. Almond
Yum.
flour and a little bit of whey protein base.
You made the base at. Actually, you got it from somewhere.
Sorted Delhi.
Where?
Sorted. There's this company called Sorted Delhi.
Okay.
So I'm working with them since quite some time. They kind of sponsor stuff for us.
Okay.
We've also got a. I haven't told you, but we also got a Shopify website, like a Fitcru store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that is. I just started that like 3 months back to see if we can trade in supplements for the same thing.
Oh.
So we sell supplements over there. Like we just trade over there with
Yeah.
our clients.
Yeah.
We do like baseline revenue, maybe 3-4 lakh rupees a month. But that's no marketing in that. It's just sending our clients a link of what supplement they can buy from our website.
Lovely. Please send
And-
me the link. I would
Yeah,
love to
so
check it
any
out.
kind of supplement. But it's mainly the supplements that I believe in. That there's
Yeah.
no adulteration, the
Yeah.
efficacy is fine. So there's carbamide photo over there. There's another brand called Nature and Thought.
Yeah.
We have some Sorted Delhi wraps. So they are like, Sorted Delhi is a small time company based out of, I think, Pune ki hai? Nahi pata mujhe. And I think the founders from Pune, and they make like organic wraps,
Yeah.
bases, then high protein snacks and stuff like that, but all air fried
Amazing.
and all.
Amazing.
So I met the founder. Even he's going to come in for a podcast.
Yeah.
His name is Kuwar something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they keep sending, and they're probably going to sponsor a bit of our podcast.
Oh, amazing. So good.
But I want to come to a place where I can monetize the podcast. I can monetize the
Absolutely.
show. Yeah, I haven't
Same.
reached there
Same,
yet.
maybe we haven't reached.
Yeah.
New, but I mean, trust me, podcast is like the new thing right now. Everyone and every second person now I know is starting a podcast,
Yeah.
which is
But I
also,
don't want to keep it like I am also starting a podcast. I wanted to keep it like that. So I don't know. I don't want to come into the category that, oh, he's also started a podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I get.
You know what I'm saying? But then I was like, if I don't in this industry, like I don't. So I'm more into wellness.
But in
right?
nutrition, who's done a podcast in nutrition? I don't know anyone.
And we didn't speak about nutrition, did we?
Yeah.
What, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Hey, I also want to speak about your scuba. Do you want to speak about your scuba incident? No? It's a nice incident. No? If you don't want to, don't.
I would have, but my mom doesn't know the
Mm.
story. I told you, right? And if she sees this,
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to. That was a life-changing experience. I can actually talk about it.
Yeah?
I won't talk about the. No, actually, I don't want to.
We let it, but you don't want to speak about
The whole thing is that only.
I know.
Yeah.
the news and all that.
Yeah. That would have been great. Yeah, that would have been a good experience to talk about.
I don't. If mom doesn't know, then no.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move to this section. So what I've done is there are things that I obviously like to ask the people who come over, but because of the format, because how informal I like to keep it, I miss out on those questions.
Yeah.
So these are questions that are very generic,
Okay.
but at the same time, they are questions that I have written on cards, which I know that I would miss out because it doesn't come naturally in conversation.
Yeah.
It's called struggle and strength. Something
Okay.
similar to what I was just telling you about. There are places, moments, times in our lives where we face adversity. We face a lot of difficult times.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you were in Philippines studying over there, you must have faced a lot of difficult times over there because
I mean, I lost my father 2 years ago, so that was one of my most difficult phases of my life.
okay.
Yeah. So
Sorry to hear.
yeah. And he was one of my mentors, my role model, like any father. You know, and he played a very big role of who I am today. I am literally a replica of him. So losing him was like losing my entire soul, you know. So yeah.
I know. what you mean.
Yeah.
I lost my dad when I was 6 years old. So,
Oh wow.
so I didn't even know
Yeah.
you at least have
Yeah.
an image, But yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apart from losing a parent, because you can't even term that as losing a loved one, but losing a parent is by far, I think, one of the hardest things that can happen to somebody's
Yeah.
life. But apart from that, smaller adversities,
Yeah.
smaller issues, not smaller, but I mean, something
Get it.
smaller compared to that,
Yeah. I get it.
in the entire journey, that has made you the person that you are today.
Yeah.
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 So I think these are questions that will probably
Amazing.
give some kind of insight to that. So you pick the question, you ask yourself, I mean, you can read it out loud and then you answer any question. Like we're going to pick out 3-4 cards.
All right. How do you stay curious and continue learning even when you feel like you've reached a plateau or are stuck in a rut? Very good question, man. I think the most important thing that I have learned is never let the child in you leave.
Okay.
And a part of me is very childlike, is very curious. Like, of course, when there are moments in my life where I'm like, oh God, I don't want more information, or like I'm done with everyone's gyan, because there are gyani babas everywhere. And you're like, okay, I think I've reached a point where, I think I know everything, or I know it all. And like, even with my work, I was like, I feel like, oh, now I've come to a point where I know everything, whatever I had to learn. And now I can do everything on my own. And that's why I decided to start my own agency or on my own consultancy firm. So I was, it was information when I was leaving also. That whole week was like information overload. It's just having so much of information and knowing that I've reached a point where I can do everything. But the child in me is like, are you mad? Like, how can you know everything? Like,
It's just getting started.
It's just getting started. You need to find different ways to keep educating yourself. So I'm not much of a reader. I don't like reading books. Otherwise, I would have said that reading would be one thing that would have helped me stay curious or to be knowledgeable. But for me, it is people. I love meeting interesting people that can feed me with the right kind of information. So I like meeting mentors, for example, CEOs of companies, or I like meeting MDs, I like meeting investors, and there's a person who lives in my building who's a venture capitalist. I like to make it a point that I speak to people who keep giving me information. And I kind of, and it is human nature that whatever information you receive, 50% of it is that you forget. Only 50% is
you can
retain. So I know that as a human being that I will not remember the entire conversation, but I will probably remember 4 to 5 things, and I will only like make sure that my concentration is in that 4 to 5 things that I can take back home. So that curiosity of a kid is in me, and sometimes I say that sometimes you're not, right? That kid in you always goes away, but I keep telling myself, no, don't let that kid in you go, because the minute that kid within you goes, your curiosity and your will to learn will just go away. So
that's phenomenal, bro. Good stuff.
I hope that answered the question.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because I'll tell you what, like, we, in this entire journey, we try to get so stringent with our systems and so comfortable with how things are working. When things are moving smooth, then we are like, okay, everything's fine. Then we stop evolving. I feel we stop evolving as humans. We stop evolving. We don't want to grow. The minute things get tough, that's when we think that, okay, now there's time to grow. But with that kind of an attitude where you're like, okay, you want to surround yourself constantly with people who are going to give you information where you can improve. If you do that, then they're constantly feeding. So it's not like you are going out to get that information.
They're always feeding you and you don't realize it. You're like, oh my God, I didn't even know, like, this thing existed, or I didn't know that I could have done it this way. And you can only become a better person if you hang out with better people in life, right? Or if you hang out with more well-versed people. If you hang out with people who don't know half of the things and they only want to learn from you, then you will be where you are. So your surroundings, the people you're with, be with people that will uplift you and feed you with information without you even knowing. So
the goal is to be the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah, why not? To become the smartest. Right? Can you share a time when you took a risk that didn't work out as planned? And how do you use that experience to pivot and find a new path to success? Yeah, so the risk that I took was 5 months ago with my job.
Okay.
So like I said, if my dad was here, he would be very upset with me that why did I leave such a high paying job. And I took this risk not knowing whether, and I'm a very independent person. Even though I'm married, even though you know, my parents have the financial means, I have never ever since the age of 17 asked for money. Like my dad has always taught me that whatever you earn, you should live within your means. Of course, if there's something in life that you really, really want, you have to justify for it, and I'll give it to you. But you have to stay where you are. Don't overspend. Learn to respect money. Like I said, it came from there. And I'm a very independent person. I don't like asking money from anybody. Whatever I have, I earn, I spend from that. And taking this risk meant that whatever monthly income that I was getting, which was the chunk, which was the bread and butter of, what I was doing, was going to go away. And there are times where I didn't know if I would have a client or not have a client. But taking that, unless and until you don't take that risk, how would you know?
Yeah.
And trust me, I have been working for 14 years and I didn't want to, there's certain points in my life like, Sachi, go for it. But then I was like, no. Then like, how would, the financial aspect. But I was like, no, I don't want to ask money from anybody. It is that whole thing. It's a mindset, right?
Yeah.
Then what are you going to do? Don't quit your job. So again, I didn't quit my job. So this happened to me 3 times in my life where I was really about to put in my papers to do something of my own, which I always wanted to do, but I didn't have that risk-taking ability. But this time I took that risk. I said, now it's high time. You take the risk and you freaking put your mind to it and you figure it out. And you will figure it out. So I took the risk not knowing what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do, how am I going to build a team, what does it require for to build a team or a company. But I feel if you have the will, the power, the motive to do well in life and do something, everything just pans out. And I don't come from an entrepreneurial background. I don't come from that background where like I have, my dad has a business already. He's always worked, like I said, in firms, very large firms. And that's what I've seen. So I've not seen the other side. And for me, this was a very, very big risk to take as an individual.
I'm sure.
But now when I look back and I'm like, dude, best decision ever. Because you are creating your own path.
Yeah.
In a corporate world, you don't create your own path. You go to work, by first week of the month, you get your salary, and you're working for someone else's success, which is what I believed in. And there's so many corporate professionals who believe in that system and they do well. There's nothing wrong with it. But that was a risk that I wanted to take, but I couldn't take, but I did take. And man, it's everything that I wanted. So yeah, you work more harder. You know that you're working for yourself.
Yeah.
So you put in those hours. I don't know how people run businesses, but then you learn, right? You learn on the job, and it is like you've started Fitcru.
Yeah,
everything is on the job. You figure everything as you go.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest learning lesson that you learn.
I feel that had you not done that, you wouldn't even touch the podcast.
So I was doing the podcast while I was at work.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be thinking of things that I'm thinking of things at this point in time. Like my mindset would be just, I know ye hafta I have to do this report, ye report. It's a very like strict thing. And any text reports, I have to do this. This is very mechanical.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind the mechanism, but the day I felt that abhi ho gaya hai, it's too much. What you're doing is just now doing the same thing again and again, and your creativity is not where you need to be at, is where I told myself that Sachi, take the risk.
Yeah.
What will happen? Maybe 1-2 months you won't have any income. what max will happen, what will happen, what will go wrong. But that didn't. Luckily I got 2 clients on board, so it worked out. So I have to. I'm signing on my 3rd client, so 3
Wow.
clients.
Congratulations, bro.
You so yeah. Believe
Good
in
stuff.
yourself and take the risks when you have to take the risks. Just do it. You only have one life,
I know.
you know.
I know.
So
I've been taking a lot of risks lately.
that's amazing. That's amazing. I wish I was a risk taker earlier in my life, but everyone has their own journey, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you make difficult sacrifices or compromises in order to achieve your goals? And how do you cope with that decision? Yeah, so there are a lot of personal sacrifices that you have to do when you are wanting to achieve your goal.
Like,
For example, not spending enough time with your partner. So, like, my husband and I, we do a long distance because of his work and my work.
okay.
He travels 15 days of the month. I could easily travel with him and spend more time, but I choose not to do that because for me, work is equally important. And if you don't build your business or if you don't build your base now, then when would you do it? So there are times where it takes a personal strain on our relationship as well, saying that what the hell, man, like 15 days of the month you're not here, 10 days of the month you're not here. But we know that we're doing this for making our future bright. So it's also very important to have, although you make the compromise, and this, I mean, I can easily travel with him, go wherever he is, work from there. But I said that no, it is important for me because Bombay is my base. I have to build my base here, work from here, plan things. Everything is here. I don't want to make that sacrifice for the future. So luckily, I have a husband who's very understanding. There are these hiccups that happens all the time.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I have seen my father also make those sacrifices where the months, six months, we were away from my father because of his work. So I have seen it, and I've been built around that system that work is as important as family. So give it that equal importance.
And it's working for you.
It is working. I mean, it gets difficult. I'm not saying.
So
it
how
doesn't.
do you all manage, like, just for people, because this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs are facing, right?
Yeah.
When you are a founder and when you are leading an entire team, the work does bite into a lot of your personal time. I mean, there are times when I've been at home and at 11 o'clock I get this idea of this. I suddenly I get reminded of something that I had to do tomorrow, and I'm going to pick my laptop. I suddenly start doing it. Right? That's how I am built. And then obviously that eats into the time that I'm supposed to spend with family, or I not supposed to, but that's the time I would want to spend time with my family. But that's how I take my work, and unfortunately that's how I think, right? So I'm just like so invested in the way I work or with my clients that at any given point of time, if I think about it, I'm just at it. Maybe it could be my ADHD, I don't know, but yeah, it does bite into that. So I've spoken to a few founders, and they said that they actually set the way they approach work, that's how they approach their relationships. So they set up time in their calendars. They set up those meetings. They make sure that that time that they have to spend with their partner, that is also put in the calendar, and then they make it. Come what may, they show up, and they show up at that capacity. And then just like any other meeting where they're not taking any other call, they're not taking any other work calls, they're not doing anything else. So
I unfortunately can't do it that way because
it seems very mechanical, right?
No, for me, because my work requires me to take meetings on the go. Like, although I have planned stuff and my husband has planned stuff, but like it's a live business, although you've put it on your calendar and they say that, I will make it, but there are times where you can't make it. So we don't say that, okay, today, of course, if today we know our calendar, we know what we're doing, I'll meet you at 9 o'clock. But there are days, there are weeks also where like, I don't know what my week is looking like. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Of course, I'll see you, but we'll figure it out. And he tells me like, this week I can't come, can you come? For example, out of town. I said, no, I can't. I can't come this week. This week is very hectic. This month is very hectic. And there are times where he doesn't come for a month also. But you know that you get irritated, you get frustrated that why did I get married? What's the point? When if you're not even there together, but you then think about the long run, right? Because why is that person working or why am I working? You know, why can't I make it or why can't he make it? It is primarily because we're trying to build a future for ourselves, it's for nobody else. So once you know the end goal, then you just kind of relax yourself and then you find ways to, you know, keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
So that's it. So we have this battle a
sure.
lot. Like every month, it's the only reason that we argue is about spending time. And unfortunately, there are so many people who also don't. And then we talk about instances like Sachi. There's so many people who don't even meet for months. So we're in a better position.
Yeah.
So let's not dwell about the negatives. Let's talk about the positives, and let's work where the time that we spend with each other reduces month on month. Let's work on that, and how do we achieve that? You know, so the bickering happens, but solutions also happen, which is good.
Then that's a healthy conversation.
Yeah, then you know there is heading somewhere, right?
Yeah,
it's not like
not just
stuck. Yeah.
It's not just venting and
This is not venting. Yeah. You know that both of you are trying to find a solution, which is very important in a relationship. How do you maintain a positive attitude and perspective in the face of failures and setbacks?
Like, is there a go-to quote in your head, or is there something that you keep reminding yourself that okay, it could have been worse? Whenever you faced any kind of setback,
you know, I was one of my jobs like a few years ago when I was still in my prime age. As I would call it, I was asked to leave my job because I was told that I was not performing.
Okay.
And I wasn't performing because I wasn't given enough guidance by my
HOD or whoever.
Yeah. The person was never there. I was making stuff, but the stuff that I was making was never checked by anyone. And the person wasn't available because the person was given multiple tasks. And this at that phase in my life, I thought I was a failure. You know, I felt that I wasn't good enough. I felt that whatever I was doing was garbage. My motivation was so low in life. I thought that whatever I brought to the table wasn't good enough, and I wasn't good enough amongst everyone. But then, like I said, when you have mentors in life and when you have people in life, you go to them and you went out and you know whether you're right or wrong, and then you're given a second chance, and then in that second chance you kind of prove yourself that you weren't. So even though you have failures in life or where you failed and you feel that you're not good enough, it is goes back to the people, that it's very important to have specific pillars around your life to kind of go to. And even if you don't have those pillars, people are not blessed with certain mentors in life, right? Everyone doesn't have that opportunity. But you go back to the table and say that why weren't you not good enough? And it's very important to go back and tell yourself to the drawing board that where did I go wrong?
Yep.
And I realized I actually wasn't wrong. I just didn't have that guidance at work. So when you're a managerial level and when you have a senior manager above you and an HOD, it is important that, you know, tasks that have been made by yours has to be guided throughout.
Yeah, reviewed and assessed,
which wasn't happening enough, and I was just doing whatever I thought was right. So it's very important that whenever you face failures, you need to assess: are you bad? Do you need improvement? What do you need in your life to really get back to where you need to be? So you need to have that talent to assess yourself as well, which is also very, very important.
True.
Yeah. So because if you don't know how to assess yourself, then you yourself will always think that you're a failure. So and take one day at a time. You know, you really analyze what made you fail, why you failed, what was the setback that happened in your life, and how do I overcome that? So even when the next job that I got, I made sure that whatever I was doing, I had that ecosystem that provided
You had
me.
that support system. You ensured that
I ensured it was there,
Yeah.
because otherwise I would fail again if I had the same environment. So it's very important to really understand the situation you're at and make yourself better at it, or make yourself aware about it.
So this is the reason why I asked you that, do you have this quote, something that you keep repeating to yourself? Because I have a quote that I keep repeating to myself, and whenever there's something that goes not as the way I would want it to, I keep saying that the lesson will keep repeating itself till you don't learn from it.
Yeah.
So every time there's something that doesn't go the way I would want it to,
Yeah.
I just repeat that sentence to myself, and I'm like, okay, what did I learn from it?
Yeah.
What is the lesson? What is the takeaway?
Yeah.
If I can pick that out, and then I
Yeah.
understand that, and I actually learn and implement it, rather than just, oh, this is the lesson, and then
Yeah.
let's get back to it like as if nothing happened.
No.
I think that has made a big change in my life. Yeah.
Absolutely. For me, only one mantra I keep telling myself: what next? I love this term because I feel, as an entrepreneurs, you achieve your goal. Everyone achieves their goal if they want to
Yeah.
achieve it. And if you're very driven and motivated, you will achieve it. But then that what next hunger is always, in me. Like even with a task, I don't know why, I tell myself, Achha Sachi, this task, and what next? What are you going to do next? So that hunger in that what next is something that is within me. Yeah.
Mad.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I think, is there something else you want to talk about?
No, man, I think you've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, we're gonna just keep snipping it.
Yeah.
Let's get the food out.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm starving.
Yeah, I'm starving too.
I hope it's good. I hope you like it.
Yum, I'm excited.
Okay.
Ooh.
It doesn't look half as good as the food that you make.
No, it's pretty good.
So
So it has mushrooms, bell peppers.
you said no bell peppers, no?
But it's okay. Lovely.
I put no bell peppers in the bracket, but I think the no part came off.
No worries.
So
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the whole of it.
I hope it's nice, and sorry about the bell peppers. Not bad.
This is the first time you're making pizza here? Or you made this before here?
I have this for lunch like pretty often. Like I told you, my calories are not like I love pizza. I just fucking love pizza.
I love a pizza.
But I needed to figure out a way that I can have pizza every day so that I can fast longer and I don't give into like snacks here and there, so that I'm looking forward to my meal. Right. Although this is like a little overcooked.
No, but it's yum.
Yeah. With your white pants. Good.
Saved.
Thank you so much, Sachi. Thank you so much for taking all the time and coming
pleasure.
here. At such short notice. Like I literally reached out to you, I think 10 days back, 7 days back, and you're like, yeah, let's do it. And
yeah.
That's exactly what we want, so that people share it and we grow, and then people like yourself and we get better guests, and you all agree to come here and share your stories and give us more insights. And this was a freaking good marketing lesson for me though.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully what we spoke about, I'm going to share more ideas with you about the thing that I want to start.
Absolutely. And I'm
pick your
looking
brains for it?
forward. Yeah, please pick my brains. That's what people do. Keep picking my brains. So please pick more.
Perfect. All right. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
so much, man. This was fantastic. Had a great session and felt like very normal. It felt very conversational, which was very nice. Very easy to talk.
That's the
to you.
intent. Yeah.
It was fantastic.